Hello everyone, welcome to AriserTalent. I'm Arpita Sharma, your maths faculty. We are going to start a new chapter today, students. Okay, so the name of the chapter is coordinate geometry, right? So today we are going to study this chapter whose name is coordinate geometry, as you can see on this green board, right? So before going in depth of this coordinate geometry, let us know how it is important to study coordinate geometry. Okay, students. So we live in this. This is what? This is our Mother Earth. Okay, so we live on Earth. Now, student, if I talk about any point, we are living on this earth. So if we talk about any point for our reference, that can be on this earth. Point can be on this earth, like here or here, anywhere, right? Or above this earth's surface. Likewise, if I am standing here, or if I talk about what should I say, that if this is the surface, so I'll talk about this point at which I am standing. Okay, and the second point will be anywhere above this point. Anywhere above this point. Okay, that can be anywhere above this point. The third point is anywhere inside this earth. Anywhere inside this earth. Now, why these are important, students? Why to know these points are very important for us? Okay, I'll just tell you that if I'm in Jaipur. Okay, so in Jaipur, I'll be telling you that yes, I want to go to WTP, right? There's something World Trade Park, right? So in that mall, I have to go. Now you know, or maybe you don't know that where that particular place is. So the thing is, student, you may know or you may not know that thing. Okay, where the exact location. Now you guys are using these GPS tracking devices. So what these devices do? They locate a certain point. Your location is a point. Now the whole thing rotates on this point. Now, to locate a position, a point's position in this world or on this earth is a step higher from what we have to study. Okay, what I am talking about is for the 3 dimension that you can feel here, but we will talk about a plane. Now, why it is important to concentrate on this topic? Because in further classes, you are going to study about 3 dimension. So first, you will clear 2 dimension. Now you all know about this 3D. You are next to that generation. Now, what is about 2D? If you talk about 2 dimension things, 2 dimension thing is what? Where you have to know about only 2 axes. Now, what are axes? We will discuss. Okay, so when you look on a paper, you can draw 2 lines. 2 lines perpendicular to each other. Understand this? 2 lines perpendicular to each other. Now, which lines? Which lines I ask you, student, we have discussed that number line you are familiar with. Okay, this we have studied. The number line, okay, right. So if that was 0, we are having positives number here. Sorry, this is 5, and the negatives number here on our number line. Now what will I do? I'll create a perpendicular to it. It's something like you see the graph. Now on this again, I'll be having the positives and the negatives, and this is, life is all about positives and negatives, students, right? Okay. Now I am naming this 0 point. The 0 is 0 for this line and this line. Now this is horizontal line, student. This is what? This is horizontal line and this is vertical line. Clear? Now you understand the gravity of this particular chapter, that how this chapter will help you to understand higher level things. Okay. No, nothing is like that ma'am, I am going to choose that subject or that subject. No, that's the thing you have to grasp very clearly, because it is included in your day-to-day life, right? Now if I talk about this, I am having this line and this line. Now what we call these two lines, these compartments, okay, this point at which these two lines intersect, we will discuss, we are coming to that. Okay, so this is about the coordinate geometry. This is something we are going to explore in our chapter coordinate geometry. Okay, now we'll move forward with the definition, part. Okay, it is a branch of geometry which sets up a definite corresponds between the position of a point. What is important in this, guys? This is a position of a point in a plane, and a pair of algebraic. Now this is important. Pair of algebraic number. I'll make you understand that thing further. Okay, so a pair of algebraic numbers called coordinates. Okay, so we'll be calling something as coordinate. That's why we name it coordinate geometry. Now what is coordinate? We'll discuss. Okay, so what is coordinate geometry? It is the branch of geometry. Now what are the important points? The position of a point, and we denote as a pair of algebraic numbers that we call as coordinate. Understand the complete definition? Understand it? Okay. Now this term Cartesian coordinate or rectangular coordinate, we'll come to know that why these Cartesian coordinates are also known as rectangular coordinates, right? Cartesian first and rectangular second. Why we call it like this? In Cartesian coordinates, the position for point P is determined by knowing the distances from two perpendicular lines passing through the fixed point. Now what is this fixed point? So you haven't asked me a question, ma'am, you are talking about a point. Where is this point? Where the hell is this point? So I'll tell you, here's that point. This is point 4, because point is very small, but to make it clear to you guys, I'm making it like this, right? Now this is the point. If I'll draw a line respect to this line and this line, right? I'll be having two algebraic, I've told you here, algebraic numbers, two algebraic numbers here, right? So two algebraic numbers are what? This is 3 here and this is 3 here. So now I will write it 3, 3. Now again one question. Which number to write first? Which number to write second? Because it's 3 and 3, right? But what if I am having a point here? What should I write? 3, 2 or 2, 3? This is a question. How will I write it? 3 or 2 or 2 or 3? Now, if I'll not fix any pattern here, I'm not going to fix any pattern here. Then, if I'm going to say you, I'm having a point 2, 3, 2, 3. So can you just tell me that can be a point 2, 3 here, and here it's also point 2, 3 here. If I don't fix the point where to write 2, where to write 3, which axis to be referenced with what. Okay, so we are gonna make these things clear in our lecture, right? So the thing is we are going to name it. We are going to name it. Now this one, this point, this intersection is O. This intersection is O. This is X and we call it X dash. So this line is X, O and X dash. Now I'll write it Y. Now if it's Y, you know this, that will be Y dash. That pattern you can identify. So there's that line, name Y, not 0, Y, O and Y dash. I'm having this line X, O and X dash and Y, O, Y dash. Right? Now, we'll talk about this like perpendicular lines passing to the fixed point. Fixed point you know now. Let O be the fixed point called the origin. Now you know this. This O, which is intersection of what? X, O, X dash and Y, O, Y dash is what? Is known as origin and we denoted by O. Understood this? Understood this? Okay. Now, the two perpendicular lines through O called Cartesian or rectangular coordinates. The two perpendicular lines through O called Cartesian or rectangular coordinates. Now, this is O, perpendicular lines. These two lines are perpendicular to each other. These two lines are what? I've told you when I was drawing this that this is a line and I've made a perpendicular line to this. So these are to each other, perpendicular to each other. Now, that is the point origin and that two lines will what? Known as Cartesian coordinate or rectangular coordinate. Why rectangular? Because if I have a point here and I'll draw a line perpendicular to this axis and I'll draw a line perpendicular to this axis, that will make a rectangle here, right? So for that purpose we call it rectangular coordinates also, as well as Cartesian coordinate, right? Okay. Now, this is, I have to make another diagram for you guys. Now, can I just not mention the positives, negatives, all these things here because we are going to study it later, right? So, I'm having this X, O, X dash. Now, you can name that Y, O and Y dash. I'm having this too. Now, if I just name that particular point P, now this is X, X dash, X, X dash, X, X dash is what? Or I call it X, O, X dash is what? X axis. This is X axis. Now, Y, O, Y dash is what? Y axis. It is what? The Y axis. So, this is X axis, this is Y axis. So, now I am having this fixed point O here, which is at some distance from these two lines. Okay. So what will I do? I'll draw perpendicular to this x dash. Okay, and similarly I'll be having this perpendicular to y dash. Now I've told you about these two algebraic numbers. These two algebraic numbers are, mind this, the first is x. What will you write first? X, and the second is y. The second is y. Can you see it clearly? X and y. Right. How will you write this? This distance. If this particular, what is the point here? M, right? Okay, we'll write M also. M and N. So this O and M is a distance, and that is what we write here, because this distance is on what? X axis. So this x will be this distance. Now that will be y here. The distance on the y dash axis. Okay, so that will be y, that will be our x. If this is x, that will also be x, right? And if this is y, that will be also y. Is that so? Understood it? Okay. Now, this is something how we used to write. Now, if I tell you that draw a point 3, 2, now you know that I have to count 3 on this x axis. I have to count 1, 2, 3. So if there is a 1, there is a 2 and there is a 3. Something like that, there are 1, 2 and 3. So 3 is here. Now the first x equals to 3 here and y equals to 2 there. So I will draw a perpendicular line here. I will draw a perpendicular line. The meeting point of these two is the point that is given. So that P will be, or I can say P dash will be 3, 2. Now 3 is x and 2 is this y. Understood this? Right. Okay. Now student, this PM is perpendicular. This PM is perpendicular to x dash, and this PN is perpendicular to y dash. Similarly, this y is parallel to y dash, and this x is parallel to x dash. Understood this? Right? Okay. So now we should move forward. Axis of coordinates. I have told you about the axis of coordinate. Just we can recall it. This x dash is x axis, and this y dash is y axis. Again, this x dash is what? X axis, and this y dash, this is what? Y axis. Okay, right. So in the figure, OX and OY are called as x axis and y axis respectively, and both together are known as axis of coordinate. Right? Now this is the plural form of axis. X axis, this is singular, that means a single axis. Y axis, this is a single axis, we call it axis. We combine call it as axis. Right? Okay, why I am telling you grammatically? Because these are the words you understand in only maths, not in English. Okay guys? Okay. Origin. Now, what we are doing, we are just defining all the terms we will be using in all this chapter. Right? Why? Because it's very obvious to know each and every term, because these terms will be used in our numericals, and this is very basics. Okay. So origin is what? Now you tell me, what was the origin? Origin was the point O. Now the point O are having the value of x and y. What? At this particular point O, if you look at that, the value of x is here 0 and y is also 0. So coordinate, I have written 3 O's, right. So coordinate of origin. What are the coordinates of origin, student? 0, 0, right? So, origin coordinates will be 0, 0, okay? Now, you can write it down, right? Next, coordinates of the origin. We have told you these are 0, 0. It has just 0 distance from both the axes, that is x-axis and y-axis, okay? Now, abscissa and ordinate. These two terms are again new to us, abscissa and ordinate. What are these? What are these? We are going to learn this also, okay. So, the abscissa and ordinate, or we call it the value of x-axis and y-axis are 0. Therefore, the ordinate, so coordinates of the origin are 0, 0, okay, okay, right. You can just write this definition, guys, it's important. Now, abscissa. What is abscissa? We are having two things here, x, y. So, OM, okay. This OM, that means if this is the point and we are drawing a perpendicular to that, then the distance of this point from the origin on the x-axis is what? The abscissa, right? Similarly, this distance, or can I use some different color chalk for that? This distance is what? That's ordinate. This is abscissa and this is ordinate. This OM is abscissa and this ON is ordinate. Now, can we use the language to understand this? Okay, the distance of a point, the distance of the point P from y-axis is called its abscissa. In the figure, OM is the abscissa. Distance of a point P from y-axis, the distance. So, that will be the distance at x-axis from the origin point, right? Similarly, if you reverse it, if you reverse this definition, that is the distance of a point P from x-axis, that will be known as ordinate, right? Ordinate. Here the ON, I have told you here it is ON, which is ordinate in the figure. Now, you understood the difference now between the abscissa and ordinate. Now, you can differentiate it. If I have told you that ordinate of a particular point is 5 and the abscissa is given 6. Now, what I have done, I have told you in different arrangement, because abscissa is the value of x point here, right? So, what will you will draw like this. If this is x and this is x dash, this is y and this is y dash. Now, the value of this x axis is 6 and here it is 5. So, the point will be something here. So, that is 6, 5 basically. That is what? 6, 5 basically. Okay. We will mention it in questions later. Okay. So, don't panic. Just note this figure and have the definition. Okay. 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 Now, quadrant. What is quadrant? We have divided this plane. If you look at this plane, and these are what? Lines, and lines go to infinity. Now, I can what? Extend it here, and I can extend it here, I can extend it here, and I can also extend it right there. So, in whatever plane you are making it, these lines are dividing that particular plane in 4 equal division. What? 4 equal division, or maybe unequal if the plane is like a rectangle and you just created a line in this part, right? If this the paper is just like this and you have created here, so maybe that can be unequal. Okay, so that have created 4 separate parts, like, so each and every part will be known as quadrant. So how many quadrants? How many quadrants? 4. Okay. So 4 quadrants here, right? 4 quadrants here, and these are what? These are what? Having some negative values, some positive values. We'll discuss it later. But you know the meaning of quadrant here. Note it. Okay. Now, just go with the words of the definition. The axis divide the plane into 4 parts. These 4 parts are called quadrants, right? This is important. So, the plane consists, okay, the plane consists of axis and quadrants. The plane is called the Cartesian plane, okay, Cartesian coordinate. So, Cartesian plane, right, or the coordinate plane or the xy plane, y-xy plane, because we have taken the x-axis and the y-axis, so xy plane can be there. So, 3 names: xy plane, coordinate plane and Cartesian plane. So, don't confuse with that, these are all same. These axes are called as coordinate axis. These axes are called as coordinate axis. Which axis? These axes, x-axis and y-axis. These axes are known as what? What? Coordinate axis. Okay. Understood this? Okay. So, after this we will understand this quadrant. Now, we'll understand this quadrant in our next lecture. For today, it is sufficient. So, do one thing, revise it thoroughly. I have told you the benefit, the actual daily life use of understanding this concept. So understand this, or just like you have work on graphs. Okay, you have work on graphs, so you can find the similarities between the two also. So just go through it, revise it thoroughly. So can we just add on some theory in our next lecture, and we'll do some interesting questions in our next lecture. Okay, student. Till then, take care. Bye bye.